Dear attendees, welcome back to Flex World Series 2023. We hope you had a chance to grab a coffee, stretch your legs, and refresh during the break. Please settle back in, ensure your devices are ready, and let's dive right back into the heart of our conference. Without further delay, let's pick up where we started. The coworking industry is continually evolving, and cutting-edge payment technologies are playing a significant role in transforming how payments are processed within the space. In the next Let's Talk Payments panel, we will discover the latest innovations that can streamline your payment processes, any common challenges that can be encountered, and what lies ahead for the future of payments. Our panel of experts, representing a cross-section of the co-working industry and the payment technology sector, is here to shed light on the latest advancements in the payment technologies that are reshaping the flexible co-working experience. Let's hear them out.
Hi everyone, it's Miro again, CEO and co-founder of OfficeRnD, and for the next 30 minutes we're going to talk about payments. And although I'm not an expert in payments in any possible way, I'm a software developer, so I can pretend to be an expert in everything. That's a very typical developer thing. So for this panel, we have invited some of the true experts in everything around payments. That goes all the way from processing, collecting money, and all the important aspects of running a business from payments point of view. So we have Sarah from the Workbar, as well as Hilary from Stripe. And ladies, please introduce yourself to the audience. Sarah, maybe we can start with you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Sarah Travers. I'm the CEO of Workbar, a Boston-based co-working operation that has, over the past 14 years, built a regional model at scale. Workbar has 12 locations in and around the greater Boston region. One of the core highlights of our model is operations that make sense. We run really efficiently. We pay attention to margins. And over the past few years, we've retired our homegrown tech stack and moved over to OfficeRnD. And we also use Stripe for payment processing.
Thanks, Sarah. Hilary?
Amazing. Hi, everyone. I'm Hilary, and I work at Stripe. And if you haven't heard of Stripe, we are a payment services provider. And we really started off as a business that was focused on how do you help businesses accept payments online? But since that founding, we've learned that companies have a lot of different needs around money movement. And so we've really become a platform for money movement, working with businesses all around the world. And I specifically work on our payments product sales team, where I'm focused on how do I work with businesses to help them grow conversion, grow globally, and really meet their customers where they are.
Thank you. I'm personally a huge fan of both Workbar and Stripe. I travel a lot. I go often to Boston, and I love going to the Workbar. It's an amazing co-working space. And also, as a software developer, I can say that Stripe as a platform is incredible. And that's why actually Stripe was so successful over the years. It's because it was built extremely well for engineers to integrate in other platforms such as OfficeRnD, and that's what made Stripe so successful. And they've always been on the forefront of innovating and adding exciting new features and functionalities for better, more convenient payment processing for the customers and for the world. So let's dive right into it. So first of all, why are payments important? And overall, I mean, it's obviously important for more or less every business out there. But Sarah, can you share a little bit more on why do you think payments are important, and also specifically for the co-working spaces?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, payments represent the most crucial aspect of a business, right? It's cash flow, it's profitability, growth. These are all sort of my favorite words as a business operator. And for payment methods, we accept electronic transfers at Workbar and credit cards. We don't accept checks anymore. Obviously, we don't accept cash. Hilary kind of talked me into this last week, but likely will be implementing a mobile payment application method, Venmo or Cash App in 2024. And I think about payments a couple of different ways. From the customer perspective, it's important that the payment methods are obviously low cost and frictionless. If someone wants to pay me, I want to make it easy for them to do that. And then from the business perspective, I want data. I want the ability to use the systems to make data-driven decisions. I'll pat myself on the back for using OfficeRnD and Stripe as well, because there are so many interesting integrations between these two companies that really help Workbar make some really good decisions. I'll sort of kick off the conversation on a high-level conceptual topic of what I consider to be really sort of where the rubber meets the road with payments on our end as an operator, but matching sort of the operational customer data with financial data in a way that's easy to consume so that Workbar can make those data-driven decisions is really important from the payment perspective. So for example, I have customer data on how often members use our space. That comes right from OfficeRnD. Anecdotally, I'm going to assume that the more frequent a member utilizes our space, the less likely that member is to churn. But from sort of, and this is where I'm going to kick it off with Hilary and Miro, but how can I marry that operational data to financial data in a way that's easy to consume? So Workbar, for example, we layer in Salesforce as our relational database because today, OfficeRnD doesn't really pass that metadata over to Stripe. And in a complex business that we're all in, such as coworking, and you know, in the co-working world, I think I can safely say I've been in this industry for 20 years and rarely do any of us operate identical business models. We just have a lot of products. And as of today, OfficeRnD passes only our invoice total to Stripe. And not to be overly dramatic, but what would be life-changing for Workbar is if, for example, OfficeRnD told Stripe about our products, and then we can pull that data in a way that's useful to forecast and predict trends to run the business. And I have a feeling that that's all things that are coming down the line between Stripe and OfficeRnD. I hope it
Sarah. Yes, you're very right. We'll discuss that in a moment. But before that, Hilary, if you want to share some high-level thoughts on why payments in general are important for running a successful business, like what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we heard it best from Sarah, who is actually running a business. And she touched on a number of the points that I think I would emphasize. But I think it's really obvious, but a business's payments infrastructure is how you're actually getting your money into your bank account. So there's kind of like that business side of it. And then on the customer side, especially for co-working spaces, when a customer actually maybe reaches your co-working space checkout page, it's sort of their final decision of making this choice of, do I need this space? Do I want to spend this money? And most importantly, do I want to spend this money with your company? And so I think like as a business, you need to think through like, okay, on the operational side, how can I be working with a reliable payment system that can scale as I scale? Is it giving me, and to Sarah's point, like the financial data that I need to, close my books at the end of the month and really understand what's happening on that side? And then I think in thinking about your consumers, really trying to understand, like, are we providing a payments experience that will hook them, that will ensure that they get to your page and they're always checking out? Are you giving them the payment methods, for example, that they expect to see and really need to see in order to move through the flow?
Thanks, Hilary. That's great. Probably I can also add a few more points from my point of view. Co-working space in general are hospitality. Our co-working is part of the hospitality industry, and as such, it's considered relatively low profit margin business, which means everything that cuts from the margin, it's a problem, and it must be addressed one way or another if possible. That's why I think in the hospitality industry overall, the more you can optimize the payments, the better, because payments can be also pricey. So it can eat up your margin if you're not cautious about that. So overall, margin is important. Therefore, optimizing that in any possible way, including payments, is super key. Also, obviously, as part of hospitality, everything is about user experience and usability. And if your members and tenants struggle to pay you, that's a big problem. And obviously it's a big problem for every business. But in hospitality, people are more how to say it. The usability is more important than pretty much any other business. So the easier you can collect the money, the better. So margin and overall optimization and also user experience, from my point of view, these are really, really important topics, and that's why payments overall is important. Moving forward, so Sarah, maybe you can share some of the challenges overall in the industry of running a space around payments. So what's on top of your mind?
So, I mean, there's a lot of things on top of my mind when it comes to payment. Bad debt is increasingly becoming a bigger conversation, especially given the challenges of the economy that we're all in right now. Workbar is not a typical landlord. We don't do credit checks on our member companies, and it opens us up to risk above and beyond the security deposit that we hold for a member. So risk management, I think, is a very valuable topic. And again, it's difficult as a company that has very quick transaction. We're in a transactional business, and we're taking on all the risk on behalf of our member companies. So that's one of the main reasons why we've partnered with Stripe over the past. And I know Hilary has some very good methods to help us manage our risk when it comes to not doing credit checks.
Just to repeat, from what we're seeing as well, and just to sum up what Sarah said, is collections is a huge challenge, and it's real problem for pretty much every business. I mean, every single business out there has to collect their money. So, and collections is getting more difficult in difficult times, especially. So being on top of your collections is absolutely key, and obviously cash checks, that's extremely unreliable way to get paid relatively instantly. Hilary, if you want to share a little bit of how Stripe can help optimizing collection and overall solve one of the bigger challenges in the coworking space industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sarah, your business is sadly not alone in dealing with bad debt. This is something that we have heard from Stripe customers since the beginning. And so, as I said in the beginning, our Stripe products are really they're based on what our customers say they need. So if we kind of think about that credit card payment side first, on the card side, there's a few things that we've developed, and also the card networks have developed to help customers make sure that a credit card on file is always up to date. So on the Stripe side, we have a tool called Card Account Updater, which basically makes sure that if your customer has a card that's saved on file with you, and let's say they lose that card, or they have a fraud issue with that card, we're communicating directly with the card networks to always have that card updated. Similarly, kind of in the past year or so, the card networks themselves have come out with network tokens, which are their kind of version of Card Account Updater, and creating kind of a fraud barrier in the industry. And then there's things that we've also developed around dunning processes. So kind of like typically in a business, let's say a customer's card fails on their subscription, usually a company will retry the card the next day, and then maybe 3 days later, and kind of do it on this daily basis or kind of time-bound basis. We've built machine learning algorithms behind the scenes to say, hey, let's not just do it on every 2 days we'll retry the card. Let's use all of the kind of inputs we have as a payments provider to determine when actually is the right time to retry that card. But as you said, Miro, credit cards are expensive, and we want to see there are other paths for customers to pay, especially with their bank accounts. As we were prepping for this call, Sarah was saying, bank accounts are great. They're a lower cost option, but of course we don't know that that individual or that business has money on hand, and they want to start working right away. And for that reason, Stripe has recently developed what we're calling instant debits. And it's the ability for someone to actually pay with their bank account, but for that payment to be guaranteed in real time. And kind of behind the scenes is Stripe's financial connection solution, which is being able to actually read that customer's bank account and say, do they have enough money in here? What is their transaction history? And in real time saying, yep, we will accept this ACH transaction without any questions. So a lot of innovation happening here, both on the card side as well as the bank account side. But hopefully we can get even further than we are today.
Thank you. Thanks, Hilary. Yes, we definitely can confirm that there is a very positive trend, in my opinion, toward more affordable payment methods. But also, I mean, at the end of the day, if they are as convenient as credit cards and as instant as a credit card processing, then why not? And we see that in Europe, we see that in the US, with in North America with instant ACH, and pretty much all over the world, we see that direct bank debit or instant debits is becoming a real trend, and it's very important. And it, in my opinion, it will have a really positive impact on the businesses globally, because it will allow for a really well connected collection that goes directly to the bank account. So it will also kind of solve the problem with the credit cards, and there are many challenges there. However, I mean, obviously credit cards will be around, and there are so many other exciting new developments around that, like what we were discussing around the smarter processing when a card payment failed, just going and charging it again result in you paying more fees, which is unpleasant. So if that can be optimized, obviously that's a good optimization on your bottom line. Moving forward, I would love to discuss a little bit the future of payments, and just more specifically, do you see other payment methods that are important already or will be important in the future? So what do you think about Apple Pay, Google Pay, and other wallets and all that? Do you see that as a real opportunity for the business world, or that's more on the consumer side? So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I can kick off on this side. I think Stripe is doing a lot of investments in payment methods right now for a number of reasons. I would say preferences of customers are actually really changing, and we're seeing that. So as a business, we've recently released our optimized checkout suite. And within that, we're enabling customers to do a single integration with Stripe. And once they're integrated, they can unlock 30 plus payment methods around the globe. And this is really important because in the US, customer preferences are changing, but especially as you grow into global markets, if a customer doesn't see that payment method that they expect to see, they might leave your site. But I would say in the US specifically, wallets are very important. Many customers, if they, anecdotally, you hear from people, oh, if they don't have, Apple Pay and integrated, probably going to leave the site. But also on the Stripe side, we see a really high uptick when customers add wallets. We're also seeing kind of trends, especially around newer payment methods in the US, like Cash App, for example. I was not familiar with this payment method really until the last couple of years, but it has an incredible customer base that's growing, very quickly. So I would say in the US, absolutely. And then internationally, especially as companies are starting to, work in new markets, these are really important.
And Sarah, do you think these payment methods are applicable also in business context, or they remain mostly on consumer and online shopping and things?
Yeah, I mean, it is mainly consumer, but we're a consumer-facing business, and so We are exploring options to add mobile applications for payments. We get a lot of requests for third-party billing applications, and kind of like what Hilary said, everybody has their own payment sort of method that they prefer. And while we certainly don't accept, I would say we don't accept 90% of them at this point, it is something that we are always thinking about and looking into from that perspective, because it is important. Again, I go back to, if somebody does want to pay us for a service that we're providing, I'm going to try to find a way for them to pay us. Massachusetts specifically, it is illegal to pass on credit card fees back to the consumer. So we've been focused for the past year of moving everybody off credit cards and into ACH. So that's been, a significant impact to the bottom line of the business, because it was basically, as of a year or two ago, 3% of our top line revenue. And that, we have 12 locations, and that's a significant amount. Going back to what you said, Miro, in the beginning, this is a tight margin business, and every percentage counts. So to move towards the mobile apps, the ACH, everything that Stripe is offering in addition to credit cards is important. And it's certainly worth looking into as operators are growing and scaling their business, because it gets to be very impactful.
Yeah.
And I think kind of not exactly a conflict, but the fact that, customers increasingly want very easy ways to check out. And businesses increasingly want to pay less money for payment processing. And so I think that's really why Stripe has put a lot of investment into this instant debit solution, which is actually kind of powered behind Stripe Link, which is a one-click checkout payment we've recently developed. Is we're trying to make it really easy for a customer to pay with a low-cost payment method, giving that kind of win-win to the customer and the business.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. So, overall, we've further expanded our partnership with Stripe, and we started completely redeveloping our integration a couple months ago, and it's been going extremely great and exciting, because what we can achieve with a much deeper integration there, it's incredible. So everything that we discussed today, it's really coming out very soon, and some parts are already out actually, like instant ACH. We're rolling soon instant debits in multiple regions across the world, like Canada, Australia, and Europe with IDEO and whatnot. So then after that, it's coming the wallets and Apple Pays and Google Pays and all other options to actually pay online. So we believe that having these multiple payment methods will actually make a difference, and will improve, first of all, the collections, and being able to connect more payment methods to your membership in a coworking space will actually result in better collections, because you will have also a fallback payment methods and whatnot. So this will certainly, in my opinion, make a difference. Obviously, the user experience will be different when you can choose between your favorite payment option versus being forced to use whatever the system is forcing you to use, like an ACH or something else. So we are on a mission with Stripe to really provide better experience and also optimize the bottom line. I think there is a pretty big room for improvement on that front, and overall increase the volumes, because at the end of the day, if it's easier, people will consume more. Further, we're enhancing our solution with directly integrating the Stripe payment details right into OfficeRnD, so all the charges and everything that goes through the platform will also be available in one system. We're also improving the way this whole synchronization between the payments and the whole flow, how it goes, and refunds and whatnot. So there is a lot of automation that can be achieved. Further synchronizing the data with, as Sarah mentioned, things like CRM systems and accounting systems that can enrich the account of the customer. Therefore, you have more data to rely on when you are making important business decisions. So yeah, the future of payments is very exciting. I'm particularly interested in this topic, and yeah, I'm grateful to have such a partner like Stripe to take it to a next level. And ladies, thank you so much for joining the panel. If you want to share anything before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say we love partnering with businesses like OfficeRnD who are really motivated to provide their customers with these best experiences. And really, Stripe comes out with this new solution, and they're first in the door to give that to their customers. So thank you for your partnership, Miro and Sarah. It's companies like you that really drive our roadmap as well. So thank you for your partnership. Thank you for everything that you funnel into OfficeRnD. We wouldn't be a business without you all.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We're very thankful for OfficeRnD and for Stripe. It helps us. We wouldn't be able to do our business without the two softwares.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good day, and I really appreciate your time today.
Don't be in such a hurry, Miro. Stay another couple of minutes,
okay,
please.
I'll stay.
Thank you, ladies, for the great discussion. It just made me think how many payment methods we're gonna have in 5 years, maybe. Yeah. But we'll see. Thanks a lot.
30 already, so
yeah, that's an interesting question. But really, thank you a lot for sharing updates and really giving us a glimpse of what you think follows in the future. So really have a great day ahead, and thanks for joining the conference today.